morning. Start your day informed and ahead. Today is Friday, the 12th of June. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Cheska Litancala. We are bringing you the perfect mix of the headlines you need and the conversations that shape your day.
From the news desk to the digital space, we have got you covered. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and welcome to Morning Matters.
Happy Independence Day.
Malingang araw ng kasarinlan.
Yes.
Beautiful
120th.
Filipinian. It's a rare occasion that we can dress up like this in a year.
Okay, looking good, everybody. But let's start with the mounting questions over Ateneo head coach Tab Baldwin. Days after two Ateneo basketball players drowned during a team-building activity in Aurora, Baldwin remains at the center of public scrutiny. The Philippine Sports Commission is calling on him to speak up as the families of Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili continue to demand answers. Ateneo, however, says Baldwin's silence was not his decision alone, claiming the university had asked him to refrain from speaking publicly. But the legal pressure is growing. The Justice Department has received a request for an immigration lookout bulletin order against Baldwin as authorities look into possible negligence in the tragedy. The UAAP, CHED Police, and other agencies are also conducting separate inquiries. For now, there are no final findings yet, but the question is no longer just where is Tab Baldwin, who was recently seen at an in-campus vigil. It is now who will be held accountable. All right, so in a rare sighting yesterday, we saw him in an in-campus vigil, and we all know that the DILG has issued subpoena to all the players and to all the coaches of the Ateneo men's basketball. And they also said that the part of their investigation would be the examination of possible violations of the anti-hazing law, no? So in this law, under Republic Act 11053, and we all know that this is not just, exclusive to yung pambubugbog. At sinasabi nila dito, this includes activities like endangerment, diba, humiliation, yan kasama yan dun sa Anti-Hazing Act ngayon.
So even the Department of Labor and Employment has issued a show cause order, has summoned Ateneo head coach Tab Baldwin, and that is to explain and prove if he has a valid alien employment permit or an AEP, and to, of course, explain the team building activity that happened in Aurora.
Yes, so we have already seen Coach Tab Baldwin. We will be most likely hearing more about him because the meeting, he's required to appear at DOLA Secretary Francis Tolentino's office on Monday. This is on Monday at 10 a.m.
Right.
But we have yet to hear from Coach Tab Baldwin. And also, Coach Tab and team manager Epo Quimpo are now on leave. But if the school is saying that they were the ones who advised Coach Tab to refrain from speaking it, were they also asked to go on leave? Or were they the ones who requested to go on leave? Again,
I think they were asked to go on leave. They were requested to go on leave until,
the investigation,
they're still
while the investigation
investigating
is ongoing.
this matter. Yeah.
Okay.
And then to add earlier kanina doon sa expanded definition of Republic Act 95 or 11053, it includes activities such as humiliates, embarrass, degrades, and endanger. So yun yung kasama doon sa sinasabi nila. And it's also good to note that we've seen a lot of educators, more than 400 Ateneo educators, are calling the university to be transparent on addressing this issue. No, sinasabi nila na official statements, and I think they released two or three statements already, since it happened. So sabi nila, statements are not enough, to address the public and the community. So they're urging them to, come up and speak, diba? Talk to us. Let us know what is happening there.
Exactly. Last night, on the big story, Attorney Tony Lavinia, who was a former dean of Ateneo and Atenean himself, was saying he was disappointed with the approach that Ateneo has taken, the position they've taken, because it seems like it's more of damage control rather than reassuring the families and even the public that they are after accountability. A lot of Ateneans have expressed disappointment because it does not match or follow the values that they were taught. Diba, in Ateneo, they say man and woman for others. So in times like this, it appears that that's not what Ateneo is doing, right? And some are even afraid that there might be a cover-up with what truly happened. So hopefully, we see more transparency, never mind the public, but more so for the families, right? For the parents, because during the wake 2 nights ago, the mom of Rene said, kulang pa rin yung paliwanag, diba? So she wants a clear explanation so that she could come to terms with what happened. If it was indeed an accident, hopefully they will explain it to her, and hopefully Coach Tab also will get to speak to the families.
And looking at the bigger picture of what happened here, there are a lot of perspective that we need to address to know. Number one also is the institutional perspective. Kasi this tragedy may or should, diba, urge the schools, the institutions to recalibrate, diba, look into the guidelines, diba, yung kanila mga processes regarding this mga activities in schools. And for parents' perspective naman, of course, as parents, you entrust your kids, diba, your children to the school and their programs, and in confidence na alam ko, ginagawa niya yung trabaho niyo, that these programs are already assessed by your administration, diba?
Especially for student athletes who hail from different provinces and foreign student athletes, you know, they're far away from home. So when you entrust your kids to schools, you trust that they will be taken care of, they will be protected, and the school is now considered the caretakers of these.
Yes, and they
athletes.
again, like PSC Chair Pato Gregorio already said, na many children, many people look to sports as a way out of poverty. And it does provide a chance at a better future. So, at what cost? This should not, this is something that should never happen again.
Dapat i-check din nila, of course, yung culture of sports na is kung itong sports na ba ito ay too much stress na sa mga players as well, 'di ba, sa mga athletes na hindi din naman sila makapagreklamo because they need to follow the orders of the coaching staff, the admin, the management, etc. So there are a lot of things that we need to talk to, 'di ba, transparency issues, student welfare, etc. But at the end of the day, yun nga, the family of these 2 student athletes need answer. They cry for justice, and these are valid, questions that they are raising.
Right now, in other news, the Philippine National Police has mobilized nearly 90,000 personnel nationwide as part of heightened security measures for the 128th Independence Day celebration. In Metro Manila alone, around 16,000 personnel have been positioned to secure key venues and public gathering areas where Independence Day events will be held. Security has also been tightened around the Senate and House of Representatives amid the possibility of protest actions linked to current political developments. Despite the heightened alert, the PNP said there are no verified threats against Independence Day activities and no confirmed intelligence reports of plans to disrupt government operations. Right, so if we remember, more than 2 to 3 weeks ago, Senator Ping Lacson first sounded the alarm or talks that there are destabilization plots, right, against the government. But the AFP has already maintained that there's no truth to any destabilization efforts or plots, and they remain loyal to the Constitution. That's why they say there's no need for a loyalty check.
It makes you wonder also, like yesterday, yung Senate website was hacked. Is this part of the destabilization plot? Although the group already identified themselves as Nullsec Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. There are still questions that you need to answer. And of course, on the other side din ng mga issues, how safe and how secure are the government websites. That this is not the first time that it happened. That's true, no? That's true, no? Kasi even the COMELEC before, diba, there were issues also of hacking Department of Health when there was issue about yung mga transfer of money, etc. So these are, valid concerns as well.
So today, of course, the heightened security around places where there will be gatherings or today ba yung rally? So yung mga areas na people can expect maybe like a larger presence of security, no? So napag-usapan na nga. So from Rizal Park, Parada ng Kalayaan route, Bonifacio Monument, Mausoleo de los Veteranos de la Revolucion.
Well, I love it. I love accent.
Pinaglabanan Memorial Shrine, Malacanang area, and the vicinity of the U.S. Embassy. And syempre, we all do not want, hopefully, today will be
Yes.
peaceful and we will be able to commemorate and remember the reason why we are celebrating Independence Day. And just in case yung mga tao po na mag-rally, sabi ng Pag-asa, today will be parang cloudy.
Okay.
So at least sana hindi siya sobrang init.
Oo. Last night nga, ang lakas ng ulan eh, di ba?
Nagulat ako doon.
Pero yun nga, on the other side of the fence, sinasabi din nila baka daw may kinalaman yung 18 bagmen dito sa destabilization plot o yung mga rally na magaganap later on, the ones that are, they were saying na people will march towards Malacanang and will ask for the resignation of PBBM. But of course, on their side, on their defense, sabi naman nila, through their lawyer, Attorney Levy Baligod, na, we're peaceful people, di naman kami ganyan, so they deny it. So we'll see what's going to happen. Basta yun lang naman talaga, if you want to, express whatever you want, diba, it has to be peaceful. Walang madadamay. Kasi nakakatakot eh, diba? There are a lot of rallies na na-cover natin na nagkakaroon ng violence eh.
Yeah.
We don't like
And hopefully today, since we are celebrating and commemorating Independence Day, mag-reflect na lang po tayo kung ito po talaga yung independence na gusto natin, right? 128 years ago, our heroes fought hard to free us from Spain, but now, tanungin din natin sarili natin, what are we doing with this
Yeah.
independence,
Diba?
right?
Kanina nga din sa
bickering.
Good Morning Kapatid, sabi ko yan eh, parang at the end of the day, we ask this question, are we truly free? On that note,
Okay, we're gonna move on to sports because that discussion is going to be quite long. All right, sports, where the drama stretches from the NBA Finals to the PBA hardcourt. The New York Knicks are one win away from NBA glory. They completed a record 29-point comeback to stun the San Antonio Spurs 107-106 in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. OG Anunoby delivered the game winner, tipping in a missed Jalen Brunson 3 with just 1.2 seconds left. Brunson finished with 36 points, while Anunoby added 33 as New York took a 3-1 series lead. The Knicks can now win their first NBA title since 1973 in Game 5 in San Antonio. And from one finals fight to another, the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals also reaches a crucial turning point tonight. TNT and Barangay Ginebra battle for a 3-2 series lead in Game 5 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. The series is tied at 2 games apiece after TNT's 106-98 win in Game 4, powered by Jordan Heading's 29 points and a strong outing from Jason Castro. Ginebra, meanwhile, will look for more support beyond Justin Brownlee and RJ Abarrientos as both teams try to move one win closer to the crown.
Can we talk about NBA first?
Yes.
I want to know what Diego's reaction is
Actually,
right now.
masakit yung ganito niya. Alam mo kung bakit kakaganon ko sa, ano ba yan? Ano ba yan? Bakit ganyan?
Ikaw yung
Ako yung
humahampas.
ganon. Hindi kasi naawa naman ako. Kasi
Yeah.
they were, di ba lamang sila ng 27
Yeah,
at the second?
29.
29. Tapos biglang sila yung matatalo.
Okay.
Pero ako naman bilang isang bandwagoner, go Knicks.
Biglang Knicks na ngayon. Okay.
This was the greatest rally in NBA Finals history.
I know,
From
that was
29
wild.
points down,
Grabe,
they
no?
won by 1 point. So OG Anunoby,
Galing nung shot na yun.
everyone's talking about the tip-in, but even with 5.7 seconds left in the game, he was the one who got the defensive stop and got the
Yeah.
ball for Knicks possession
Nobody,
also.
saw it coming.
We also have to note that the Spurs starting lineup is the youngest.
Yes.
It's the youngest starting 5 in NBA Conference Finals and Finals history. I think the average age yun na nga, 22 years and
Dylan Harper.
346 days. That's almost 23. Gusto mo may days talaga, para eksakto. But, so again, like, do we chalk this up to, again,
Inexperience.
inexperience?
It's the first finals of Wemby.
Yes.
Maturity.
So,
And you can feel the pressure nung nakita mong pahabol sila, nataranta na sila.
but now do you go back to San Antonio and curl up into a ball and cry? Or do you fight back? Do you extend the series? Because this is the finals na eh. So this is where you get the experience.
Oo.
But
Well, home court,
yung isa
ano?
pa, yung New York Knicks, this is the 5th time in the last 2 postseasons that they have come back from a 20 or more point deficit.
Galing nila.
So, leading to the PBA, kung ang Hinebra ay never say die, meron din NY never say
I
die.
love it.
So you know the Knicks are able to come back from large deficits. So over to the PBA naman, tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. at the Smart Araneta Coliseum.
Ayan.
May ticket.
You can celebrate your Independence
May
Day
ticket.
watching these games. Very exciting in the world of sports. Marami tayong abangan dyan.
Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos is expected to lead the Independence Day Parade at the Quirino Grandstand. And for more details, mobile journalist Julie Baiza now joins us on the line. Hi, Julie. What can we expect from today's program?
Pauline, ongoing ngayon ang military at civic parade dito sa Quirino Grandstand. Bahagi pa rin ito ng mga aktibidad bilang bahagi nga ng 128th Philippine Independence Day celebration. Ngayong Independence Day, may panawagan si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa publiko. Maging mapanuri daw sa katotohanan, lumaban ng patas at isulong ang interes ng lahat. Sa talumpati ng Pangulo, sinabi niya na pagkakaisa ang susi para makamit ang kasarinlan. Ang tunay daw kasi na pinuno, isinasakripisyo ang pansariling interes. Aminado naman si PBBM na maraming hamong kinahaharap ang bansa ngayon, gaya ng katiwalian at pagkakanya-kanya. Pero sa kabila daw nito, naniniwala raw ang Pangulo sa kayasipan ng mga Pilipino. Marami na rito kasing pagkakataon na naipakita ang kakayahan na manindigan sa tama at pumangon sa pagsubok. Kaya nga ang panawagan ni PBBM, huwag daw mapagod ang publiko na ipinagapan ng Pilipinas, maging mapanuri, huwag maging mapagsamantala at ipaglaban ang katotohanan. Piliin daw ang interes ng lahat laban sa interes ng ilan. Sa ngayon, ongoing na itong military civic parade, pero gusto sa first family, present dito yung ilang miyembro ng gabinete, maging sina House Speaker Boji D at Senate Pro Tempore Willie Gatchalian. Nakita rin natin kanina pagdating ni PBBM na bahagya silang nag-usap at nagbatian ni Gatchalian.
Julie, mas mahigpit ba ang seguridad ng Pangulo sa kabila ng usap-usapan na may mga destabilization efforts ngayong araw?
Pauline, napansin natin na mas liquid yung seguridad ngayong taon kumpara sa nakaraang taon. Halimbawa na lang dyan, pa lang pagdating natin dito mga alas 6 ng umaga, wala na talagang signal dito sa premises ng Quirino Grandstand. Hanggang doon sa kabila sa may Rizal Park, kung saan unang kalsagawa ng display at flag raising ceremony yung first time. Sa mga attendance naman, nakakapasok ko lang dito sa may area malapit sa stage o yung tinatawag na VIP area. Kaming mga nakalista, may mga QR code at saka tinatatakan at binibigyan ng mga sticker from the reception area, Pauline.
Julie, ano pang mga aktibidad ni Pangulong Marcos ngayong araw?
Yes, Pauline, mamayang gabi may bandenwer na dadaluhan si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos bandang alas 5 ng hapon. Ito katatapos-tapos lang mga seremonya. Abangan natin or susubukan natin kung makakalapit tayo para makapagbigay ng ilang tanong sa Pangulo.
All right, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Julie Baiza. In other news, Senator Erwin Tulfo said Senate President Pro Tempore Win Gatchalian has requested additional personnel from the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines to help bolster security at the Senate. In an interview with The Big Story, Tulfo said the request comes amid reported security threats allegedly directed at the upper chamber. Meanwhile, Tulfo said the Senate majority has yet to decide who will serve as presiding officer in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. He added that their bloc is still awaiting the possible entry of one or more senators to secure the numbers needed in the race for the Senate presidency.
Is it correct that Senator Chis Escudero may be the presiding officer and not the Senate pro tempore or acting President Win Gatchalian?
We're still talking about that, and I believe sometime next week the Senate majority will be meeting to talk about it, to discuss who will be the trial manager. That's what we call it here. Trial manager, if it will be another person, if it will be a Senate pro tempore Win Gatchalian. So pag-uusapan pa yan, Ses, then decision as a whole by the majority kung si Senator Chis nga magiging trial manager.
But is it correct to assume, Senator, na kapag nakakuha na kayo ng additional 1 or 2 senators, then a special session can be called by Malacanang to formalize?
Definitely. Yes, so that we can elect a Senate president. 1 or 2, the 2 would be better. So, but for now, medyo we're still waiting. Medyo hindi pa malinaw, but hopefully, before the trial begins in July, we'll be able to get kahit one lang para we'll have a Senate president na. And we're taking the word of former Senate President Cayetano na sabi niya pag naka-13 then bababa siya. So we're just waiting for one, and then we're taking his word na he will step down once we get the 13.
The CIDG probe into the deaths of 2 Ateneo basketball players widens, with more than 20 people now summoned for questioning. Mobile journalist Jazz Paredes reports.
The Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, CIDG, has issued subpoenas to several individuals as part of its probe into the deaths of 2 members of the Ateneo men's basketball team, Rene Batarbonia and Divine Adidi. Those included in the subpoenas are the players, coaching staff, resort staff, local government officials, school authorities, and even the bus driver who drove them to Aurora. According to the CIDG, this is to determine whether proper measures were taken by the local government and school authorities prior to the team building activity.
What we are trying to establish is if the school authorities concerned have prepared for the safety and medical needs of the athletes who are participant sa team building activity.
more than 20 individuals have been issued subpoenas. They're expected to appear at the CADG office on Monday, June 15, to undergo interviews with the investigators and be asked about their participation in the ongoing investigation. Morico said that if those summoned refuse to appear personally, the CADG has contempt powers. He also added that there's a high chance that subpoenas will be issued to former Ateneo players who had earlier claimed they experienced military-like training. Meanwhile, several persons of interest have also been identified by the CADG.
They are the school authorities that were together with the team. Sila po yung nagdala doon sa Aurora.
Mailan po sila, sir?
Several. Not less than 3.
Pag sinabing persons of interest, ano po ibig sabihin?
Persons of interest. Actually, indirect participant doon sa... Yeah. No, not pagkamatay. We cannot say na pagkamatay right now.
He also clarified that being issued a subpoena is for official purposes and does not automatically mean a person is a person of interest. Morico also said that an immigration lookout bulletin order was requested from the DOJ on June 10 to prevent certain persons of interest from leaving the country. One of them is a foreign national. The DOJ confirmed yesterday, June 11, that it had received the request. Morico assured the public that the CADG is treating the case with utmost fairness and wants its investigation to be thorough in order to give justice to the families of the deceased players.
What I could say right now is the investigation is ongoing. We will be probably in several days' time after we have already interviewed the POIs, the participants. That's the time that we can make a formal conclusion.
The CADG looks forward to resolving the case in order to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. Kapatid Jas Paredes, we are One News.
The House Prosecution Panel has named 10 private lawyers to assist in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza has this report.
10 private prosecutors have been named as the House Prosecution Panel gears up for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Experience and due diligence, those are the traits that the public prosecutors considered on deciding who are best of aid for the presentation of evidence. House Lead Prosecutor Jervy Luistro discloses that these private lawyers volunteered their involvement and more are expected to come in the next few days.
First and foremost, katulong natin sila sa mga legal researches, organization of documents, preparation of witnesses, preparation of pleadings, and all others which will be needed with respect to this impeachment trial.
It's not exactly simple or easy. Kaya we really appreciate the help of our private prosecutors. As far as the rules are concerned, plano naman, any and all private prosecutors are under the control and supervision of the public prosecutors.
Among those included are Pecabar Law's attorney Marfort Fua and attorney James Brian Ibrahim Ali, alongside sa legal law attorney Amando Ligutan, who has been known as an active proponent since the filing of the impeachment complaints against the Vice President. Joining them is veteran attorney Lorna Kapunan of the Kapunan and Castillo Law, who is no stranger to handling big cases. Kapunan once served as counsel for Janet Lim Napoles on her alleged pork barrel scam, one of the largest corruption scandal last 2013. For Kapunan, this serves as a payback for the Filipinos.
I think in my 48 years as lawyer, this probably is what we call payback time. And this is where I think very serious legal issues are concerned because they constitute articles of impeachment against a very high official. This has been a crusade since last year when we also volunteered to help give legal advice to the impeachment team last year.
It can be recalled that the 19 Congress's version of the articles of impeachment against the vice president were nullified by the Supreme Court last July 2025. This time around, the House Prosecution Panel prepares for the upcoming pre-trial conference on June 18 at the Senate. Kapatid Amy Atienza, we are One News.
Right now, don't go away because Money Talks with Kathy Yang is up next to get you ahead of the markets. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Stay tuned to One News.
Welcome to Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, the country's human development progress is threatened by the prolonged Middle East crisis, said the United Nations Development Program. The peak in inflation may have passed, says Moody's Analytics, but the Bangko Sentral is still likely to deliver another rate hike on June 18th. We check in with Sarah Tan, economist at Moody's Analytics, live in Singapore. And as the death toll rises, help arrives in areas affected by Monday's powerful quake. MVP Group's Unified CSR Unit Tulong Kapatid distributes relief and support. Alagang Kapatid Foundation Inc. Executive Director Menchi Silvestre joins us live. Nations Development Program warns that the ongoing Middle East conflict could set back human development gains in the country. The UNDP notes the Philippines is among the hardest hit in the region as it relies heavily on crude oil from the Middle East and imports much of its food and fertilizer. The agency says higher oil, food, and fertilizer prices, along with possible disruptions to remittances from overseas Filipino workers in the Middle East, could push more than 35,000 Filipinos into poverty. And that number could be much higher as the crisis continues. Among the most affected are informal workers, public transport drivers, farmers, and families dependent on remittances. While the government has responded with measures to cushion the impact, the UNDP says broader and more targeted interventions may be needed, including to diversify sources to lessen exposure to energy shocks. Fuel prices are expected to go up next week. That's after tensions between Iran and the United States flare up again in the Strait of Hormuz, a key route for global oil shipments. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin says many suppliers have found alternative sources of petroleum products since the fighting began, but stresses that the country must remain vigilant because most of its imports still come from the region. Garin urges consumers to conserve fuel, citing concerns that prolonged conflict could still strain supplies over time. Our first guest is the only one among 16 economists polled by Business World who forecast May inflation to come in below 7%. She forecast 6.5%. The actual number came in at 6.8%. The Bangko Sentral likewise missed, projecting between 7.1 and 7.9%. With us for more, live from Singapore, Sarah Tan, economist at Moody's Analytics. It's good seeing you again, Sarah. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, Kathy. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, so it's a sliver of a miss, 0.3 percentage point to be exact, but still the slowest among all forecasts, coming closest to what's been a difficult-to-read May inflation result. So what did you see that the Bangko Sentral and consensus missed?
Yeah, I think the good news is that we have passed the peak of inflation, hopefully, and we start to see month-on-month deceleration. I think the good news is that energy prices are starting to come down lower at the retail side. You know, the government is doing a few things to kind of, including diversifying their import sources. You know, they have removed the fuel excise tax as well. So all these have helped at the margins for inflation. I think that contributed a lot to our deceleration assumption for the May forecast.
Well, does that assumption stay? Now that it's 6.8%, how is that shaping that inflation path for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so the thing about inflation is that it is easy to go up quite quickly, but it is sticky to come down. So we don't expect a very sharp deceleration from here on. We still expect inflation to stay rather elevated, above 6% at least for the coming month. And so that will push up the overall inflation forecast for the year as well.
Yeah, because when you look at core inflation, it actually ticked up to 4.1%, coming from 3.9. So how are you now reconciling that with the softer momentum in the headline, with still sticky underlying pressures?
Exactly, you're right. So all these will keep the overall headline inflation from moving down slower than what would have happened. So we won't see that kind of, as sharp as the increase was, we won't see that sharp decline. And so you could probably see some tapering off across the full year at least. Yeah.
But when you look at the components there, I mean, you pointed out utilities, transport, they're still exerting significant pressure on households. So do you think we've really passed the inflation peak, or do you think that global oil risks could still argue for caution?
Definitely the risks are tilted towards the upside, right? The energy and the transport and utility prices will stay higher for longer. But I believe we have passed that peak in terms of year-on-year terms, and we should see some slowdown in momentum, even though there are a lot of, I guess, ups and downs in the energy markets, as even the UNDP has said, right? There are a lot of flare-ups and tensions still in the oil markets, and so that will definitely keep the risk towards the upside. But overall, I think we are likely to have passed the peak, and if I think the main inflation print today really shows that kind of deceleration that we were kind of hoping for. And even though we missed it by 0.3 percentage points, I think it is still comfort and reassuring that we are going down that path today.
Yeah, it's no comfort, though, when you make a mention of that UNDP report and the impact it could have in human development, because when you look at underemployment, that's a statistic that we followed this week. It rose to a near 3-year high over a month into the Middle East conflict. So how are you weighing in on the impact of that follow-through rate hike, just to think about how it impacts households and jobs to that growth trajectory?
Yeah, the growth trajectory has definitely slowed in terms of overall economic growth. Every month we do our baseline forecast, and it feels like every month we are just bringing the forecast even lower with new news that, as you mentioned, is not very comforting, right? Things like underemployment, things like the rate hikes passing through to household budgets. It's still going to weigh on purchasing power for this year, and so we have a rather modest growth rate forecast this year. And if I can just give you the number, we are at about 4% this year. We have lowered our forecast from about closer to 5% at the start of the year, but since the conflict, it's now closer to a 4% this year.
So it's a full percentage point of a cut in your growth forecast.
Yeah, it's a total 4% growth for this year.
All right, so how high the bar is still for another rate hike from the Bangko Sentral, and how soon? Could it be more than 25 bips than 50? And how quickly might the BSP pivot to a pause, given the consideration that we're seeing that growth is slowing even further?
Yep, so we do have an expectation of another 25 basis point hike in the upcoming meeting in June. I guess the deceleration in the main inflation means that we don't expect any off-cycle rate hikes or a 50 basis point rate hike. I think a 25 basis point rate hike might be what we'll see next week. In terms of moving forward, I think a prudent pause is appropriate, especially if inflation remains in a deceleration path. But of course, if our forecast turns out to be wrong and inflation starts to reaccelerate again, unfortunately, I think that it may warrant another hike. But of course, the BSP is in a very difficult position, right? It needs to balance between the rising inflationary risk as well as the slowdown in growth momentum. And it seems like, at least for the last few months, they are prioritizing the inflationary impact. And if they hold to their position, I think we should see a little bit more aggressive move should inflation reaccelerate again.
Just as a final point, Sarah, on those green shoots of a catch-up spending, I think I've heard it once. that it is happening. That catch-up spending, is it showing up in any of your metrics and giving you hope that perhaps the growth of 4% for the year might be an underestimation?
I think the hope of having more green shoots is less than what we would expect earlier in the year. I think that's not really coming up in a lot of the key indicators that we're looking at today. But of course, besides the domestic front, there's also the external, trade sector, and I think that's perhaps has a little bit more optimism in terms of things like electronics exports, riding on the AI boom. But of course, government fiscal measures will also help on that front, covering the whole, both internal and external, sectors. So hopefully increase in government spending will help. But I think if you look at things like private consumption and households, that is still quite soft, and that's not really the upside to our expectations. Yeah.
All right. Well, keep tabs of those indicators for us from Singapore then. Thank you so much, Sarah Tan of Moody's Analytics. President Bongbong Marcos is urging Filipinos to draw inspiration from the national heroes as the country marks its 128th Independence Day. In his message, Marcos paid tribute to those who fought for the country's freedom and to Filipinos who continue to serve the public good. The president also called on Filipinos to defend the truth, use technology responsibly, and help rebuild trust amid growing divisions. He led the flag-raising and wreath-laying ceremonies earlier at the Rizal Park. You're watching Money Talks. Coming up, Elon Musk's SpaceX made history with the largest initial public offering on record. And here at home, we check in on the situation in Quaker General Santos City. Keep it here on One News. Back to Money Talks, I'm Kathy Yang. The death toll in the magnitude 7.8 earthquake in Mindanao has risen to 47. Latest data from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council show over 600 were injured, while 31 others remain missing. Search, rescue, and retrieval operations continue in hard-hit areas. In Sarangani, some survivors have started going out asking for alms. Although aid is arriving, many residents have still not been reached and are still left without food and drinking water. The provincial government says they are doing their best to reach isolated areas.
For now, focus kami sa rehabilitation effort, no. In fact, kahit gaano kahirap yung isang tao na na-isolate for how many days, talagang gumagawa ng paraan ng provincial government, regional agencies, and national agencies.
Authorities continue to assess the full extent of the earthquake's damage in parts of Mindanao. Let's check the situation in General Santos City with our mobile journalist, Daniel Dayao. So Daniel, what are you seeing on the ground and the residents there? How are they coping?
Kathy, ilang araw nga matapos yumanig ang 7.8 magnitude na lindol dito sa General Santos City ay malaking hamon talaga sa mga residente kung paano sila makakabangon. So kaninang umaga or ngayong umaga, i-check natin ang isang hospital dito, pati na rin ang kanilang evacuation center at iisa ang kanilang concern, yun nga ay paano makabangon dahil unang-una wala daw silang finances, pangalawa walang supply of water and food. So kanina bumisita tayo sa Soccergen County Hospital at nakita natin dito na karamihan sa mga pasyente ay nasa labas pa. So meron tayong total of 109 patients doon sa pinaka-hospital pero only 25 are inside. So I actually talked to some of the patients there na sabi nila sa akin ay takot sila sa possible aftershock. Though to give information lang, wala naman kaming nararamdaman na ditong aftershock but siguro nga kasi dahil nasa hospital sila and they have a lot of things to bring pag nasa loob, yun ang kanilang precautionary measures daw. So apart from that, Kathy, naitala nga na meron dito nga 8 minor injuries na related to earthquake but the rest of the patients are medical patients naman daw. So for now, meron silang mga 4 portalets pero ang pinaka-challenge talaga dito is yung water supply kasi kailangan na rin daw ng operating room since nag-resume ngayon right after or the day after nung earthquake. So that's the latest situation with Soccergen County Hospital. Going naman sa evacuation center ng Carcon, yun din ang concern ng mga residente doon, yun nga yung tubig dahil nagkakaroon daw ng shortage sa tubig and at the same time wala daw masyadong potable water. So that's one of their concerns and I actually talked to one of the residents there or evacuees and ang sabi niya sa akin, mahirap talaga tanggapin at masakit dahil matagal daw nilang pinag-ipunan yung bahay because all of the residents there, apart from Buayan na nabisita natin kahapon, ay hindi na sila bumalik ng kanilang bahay. That's because totally devastated na yung bahay nila. So isa yon sa pinaka malaking concern nila kung kailan sila magkakaroon ng ayuda, pampagawa ng bahay, and of course, ayuda para nga sa financial when it comes to buying necessities dahil hindi lang naman daw food and the water supplies ang kanilang kailangan. Of course, meron din silang mga basic necessities na kailangan bilhin. Kathy.
Daniel, doon sa mga local government units, may sapat na pondo ba sila para pagpondohan yung mga relief operations?
Yes, Kathy. Alam mo, kahapon bumisita dito ang ilang senators from majority bloc. Kasama dyan si Acting Senate President Win Gatchalian, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Mig Zubiri, and Senator Erwin Tulfo. And personally, nagpaabot sila ng tulong ng kanilang sahod daw sa gobyerno or sa Senado ng 1 million pesos here just for General Santos and 1.5 naman sa Sarangani. And inamin din naman ng provincial or ng mayor dito na si Ms. Lorelai Pacquiao na hirap nga din ang LGU. So ngayon ay nakakuha tayo ng updates na magkakaroon siya ng meeting along with other LGUs in connection nga sa pagbibigay ng ayuda. But for now naman, Kathy, visiting yung mga evacuation centers and yung hospitals, nakakatanggap sila ng ayuda from private companies and NGOs. But that's the latest for now, Kathy.
Okay, maraming salamat. Mobile journalist Daniel Daya reporting live from General Santos City. An MVP Group's unified CSR arm, Tulong Kapatid, has begun its relief work in General Santos City following the 7.8 quake earlier this week. With us for more is the Executive Director of Alagang Kapatid Foundation, Inc., Menchi Silvestre. It's good seeing you, Menchi. Welcome back to the program.
Kathy, maraming salamat. Good morning sa inyong lahat.
Yes, so what's the latest, Menchi? Mukhang malaki ang pangangailangan sa General Santos City.
Kathy, again, very overwhelming itong nangyaring earthquake na ito in not just in General Santos City but affecting also the neighboring provinces of Sarangani. But just the same, ang importante sa atin, Kathy, is to pull together the efforts of the different companies and foundations under the Manny Pangilinan wing, and that as we speak, Kathy, ang Juan Meralco Foundation has already done its work. Within I think 36 hours ay naroon na rin agad in General Santos City, as well as our colleagues from Smart Communications, as well as PLDT Smart Foundation, at of course ang inyong lingkod, ang Alagang Kapatid Foundation. We are bringing in 2 tons of basic necessities, Kathy, not just from Alagang Kapatid Foundation's donors, as well as resources from the Tulong Kapatid, as you mentioned, Kathy. Meron tayong dalang tubig, yung kanina pang binabanggit na tubig, meron din tayong dala-dala niyan, Kathy. Meron din tayong dalang gensets that we can lend to the communities para sila ay makapag-charge ng kanilang gadgets, ng kanilang mga ilaw. Alam nating napaka-importante that they can get into contact with their families also and assure them that they're okay. And of course, hindi mawawala, Kathy, yung basic necessities of food, hygiene, medicines, sleeping essentials. Meron din tayong dala, Kathy. Aside from that, Kathy, we're expecting donations from to come within dito na mismo sa Mindanao, thanks to our other donors. Allow me to thank the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who committed 5,000 packs, Kathy, that agad-agad na pwede nating ipamahagi. Kagabi nakita ko na yung repacking activities na nangyayari. But habang hinihintay natin ito, Kathy, ang ating team din will do two things. Serve hot meals in affected areas, and we're not limiting ourselves to evacuation centers. Alam nating may mga pamilya who opted to stay outside, minsan nasa tabing karsada. Atin pong sisikaping maabot yung mga communities na yan. Kathy, nakakatanggap din kami ng mga SOS from island municipality of Balut, pero sabi nila it'll take almost a day travel sa open seas to reach the municipality, but inaaral natin how to get the goods there, how to get help there.
It appears na
Isolate.
logistics is really quite a challenge, no, Menchi. To our
is.
kapatids, our staff on the ground, what are they seeing? Yung mga kondisyon ng roads, access, as well as basic services. Where are we starting
Yes.
from? Where are we baselining all the relief work that's being done now?
Kathy, it's a good thing. Halimbawa, the municipality of Glan, which used to be isolated for the first couple of days, ay naayos na nila ang daan patungo rito. And it's a good thing. Our team can now, at least land trip lamang, Kathy, ay madadala na natin ng tulong doon. But other island municipalities, that's difficult. Yung mga island barangays din, that's also a challenge. But Kathy, nakita na natin itong scenario na to just recently in Cebu, late last 2025. Nakita natin how difficult it was. Pero Kathy, pag nagtulungan naman talaga ang LGU, ang private sector, talagang nagagawa naman natin ang ating tungkulin. Again, we're not saying we can provide all the needs of all the communities affected, Kathy, but with all the help that we're getting, we can reach at least the more isolated communities.
Right, we could do a lot more help. As we know, collaboration always works out in a situation like this. Meron ba mga panibagong pribadong sektor or NGO partners that are going to come in and reinforce your work in Jensan and Sarangani?
Kathy, we're very fortunate from the private sector. Again, I mentioned the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Lagi na po itong nagtitiwala sa atin sa Alagang Kapatid Foundation. A minimum of 5, they committed 10,000, but at the moment we already have 5,000 packs from the church. Playtime Cares also dedicated 1 million pesos worth of food essentials, hygiene, as well as soup kitchens. They're supporting our soup kitchens as well, Kathy. Again, our own Makati Medical Center Foundation, I'm seeing photos of the medical kits and the sleeping kits that they sent to us. One Meralco Foundation also entrusted to us several solar lamps, Kathy, para dun sa mga communities na hindi pa nare-restore ang kuryente. Also, the services of smart communications, dala-dala din natin yan, Kathy, and from the Metro Pacific Investments Foundation. In fact, our own MVP hospital, St. Elizabeth, was also affected, Kathy, and yung ating team from One Meralco Foundation was among the first to arrive on scene para tulungan also even our own health workers.
Okay, well, keep us up to speed, Menchi, sa pagdating mo sa Jensan. Maraming salamat and do take care. Menchi Silvestre of the Alagang Kapatid Foundation. And checking in on the markets overseas, U.S. stock futures move higher as investors looked ahead to SpaceX's highly anticipated market debut and welcome signs of easing tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The Nasdaq climbs by more than 0.5%. S&P 500 gains 0.3%, and the Dow rises by 0.8%. Asian markets are also trading higher this Friday. South Korea's Kospi leading gains, up by nearly 0.8%. And Japan's Nikkei 225 rises 2.5%, over 4% in fact, that Australia's ASX 200 advances by about 1.8%. U.S. stocks rallied Thursday after President Donald Trump said he had called off planned strikes on Iran and reiterated that a deal between Washington and Tehran could be reached soon. The Nasdaq jumped more than 2.5%, Dow gained by about 1.9%, and the S&P 500 advanced 1.75%. Elon Musk's SpaceX made history with the largest initial public offering on record. The company raised $75 billion after pricing its shares at $135 each. That tops Saudi Aramco's $29.4 billion IPO in 2019. SpaceX shares are set to begin trading on the Nasdaq Friday evening, Philippine time, under the ticker SPCX. Philippine financial markets are closed today in observance of Independence Day. Here's a quick check of the Thursday market performance. Local shares ended lower as escalating tensions in the Middle East raised concerns about oil prices, inflation, and interest rates. The benchmark PSEI lost more than 0.5% to close at 5,910. And the Philippine peso held steady at 61.35 against the dollar Thursday. The level is still marked its strongest finish in a month amid signs of easing tensions between the U.S. and Iran. And the 10-year government bond yield eased to 7.493% from its previous close of 7.681%. And before we go, a new adventure thriller is heading to the big screen later this year. In Heart of the Beast, Brad Pitt plays a Special Forces officer who survives a plane crash in the Alaskan wilderness. His only companion is his combat dog, Odin. The film is set to open in Philippine cinemas on September 23.
I got you. Easy, fella. Good job, buddy.
Good dog. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang. A very happy Independence Day, everybody. Catch us again Monday, 9 a.m. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Morning Matters is coming up at 9:30 a.m. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you Monday.
Good morning mga kapatid, I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro. As we know, the Philippine National Police is on full alert for the country's 128th Independence Day celebration. Nearly 90,000 police personnel have been deployed nationwide, including around 16,000 in Metro Manila to secure key venues and public gathering areas. Security has also been tightened around the Senate and the House of Representatives amid possible protest actions. But the PNP says there are no verified threats to Independence Day events and no confirmed plots to disrupt government operation. Joining us now is political pundit and former presidential political advisor Ronald Llamas. Sir Ronald, Sec Ronald, thank you for joining us again. Good morning.
Magandang umaga, Angela. Tsaka Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. I was surprised I didn't see you in Barong.
Oo nga eh.
Pero of course, the last time you visited here last week, you mentioned about this rally. What do you know about this rally now so far? What are the key developments?
Mukhang inatras yung rally ngayong Independence Day. No? Parang pinanggalingan kasi niyan ay, di ba, sabi ni Senator Ping Lacson, may mga destabilization threats. That was three weeks ago. At 2 weeks ago, nagkaroon ng gulo sa Senado during nung Blue Ribbon Committee meeting nung Alan Peter faction. No? Na hindi naman siya naging official. Parang ang tawag nila ramp session. Pero sa labas, sumisigaw yung mga supporters nila ng sunugin ng Kongreso, sunugin ng Malacanang. So, yun yung medyo nadagdag dun sa sinabi ni Senator Ping Lacson. Tapos after nun, kumalat yung mga balita na may nagpaplano ng malaking mobilization sa June 12. Ang balita nga, nagpaprinta ng mga t-shirts.
Yes, I heard about it. How many t-shirts were there? Were printed. No? Pero marami.
Pero mukhang marami. No? Tapos sumunod dyan, nagtawag ng security conference si Secretary John B. Cremulya at sabi ni Montulpo sa kanyang column ay ito ay preparation para sa possible disruptive mobilization sa June 12. Tapos after nun, nagtawag ng high security alert si Acting Senate President Win Gatchalian sa Senado. At nag-work from home yung mga empleyado at naglagay ng no visitor policy at other bomb threat protocols. So, alam mo, siniseryoso ito. Ganun din yung sinabi ni NBI Head Director Melvin Matibag na meron talagang mga threats. Pero as of yesterday, yung plano na mag-rally ng malaki sa Senado ay nag-fizzle out. At yung,
why do you think so?
Siguro dahil yung hinihingi nilang trigger, parang kailangan dyan may trigger para ma-agitate yung mga tao or ma-inspire. Yung Senate ay hindi magandang trigger. Dahil makikita mo sa mga surveys at saka social media, very unpopular yung grupo nila Alan Peter at Marcoleta. Kaya mismo si Sara Duterte may distansya eh. Di ba? Hindi siya nagsasalita. Dahil nga, very unpopular yung kanilang grupo. Kaya kung not a very good trigger. So, ang mangyayari dyan, back to the drawing board. No? Maghanap ka ng mas popular na trigger. At tingin ko, naghahanda sila para sa impeachment. Naparating na ngayong early July. So, tingin ko, doon nila ima-master yung kanilang forces. Rather than ngayong araw na ito. Dahil nga, walang maayos na trigger.
So, kumbaga, today, kalmado lang muna tayo. Hindi siya matutuloy yung malakihang rally na yan.
Dahil usually kasi gabi pa lang, makikita mo na yung bus-bus na nagdadatingan sa Luneta. Eh, hindi yan nangyari kahapon. Tapos nang minomonitor natin, parang wala naman. Usually may kasulatan yan eh. Na, oy, mag-mobilize kayo, ganyan-ganyan. Wala naman tayo na monitor na yon. Kaya as of yesterday, alam mo na wala na.
But you mentioned Senator Ping Lacson, he had a personal intel about this. And then it fizzled out, etc. Here you are, General Bronner of the AFP, also denied that there are, you know, groups of the AFP are thinking about this. And on the other side of the fence, sila Attorney Levy Baligod, ang lawyer o legal counsel ng 18 na bagmen ni Zaldico, allegedly, ay sinasabi nila, hindi naman din daw sila yun, di ba? They are not violent people. So, sino ba talaga yung faction na nakikita natin behind this group that are supposed to do the rally today?
Well, kung nakikita mo, ay una, ginagamit yung 18 Marines to trigger anger within the military na hindi nangyari. No, tama naman yung sabi ni General Browner the chain of command holds itself independent.
Right.
No? At sinusuportahan nila yung Constitution. Hindi sila lalabas dyan. Totoo naman yun. No? Pero may mga ang ina-agitate nila baligod dito mga Marines ay yung mga disgruntled elements sa loob. No? Using yung usapin ng corruption as a trigger. Pero hindi nangyari. No? Ikalawa ay yung mga kaso ng mga senador sa kampo ni Alan Peter na may plunder case na nakulong na nga.
Right.
Yung isa, si Jinggoy. Tapos, merong mga kaso na plunder din yung kanilang mga kasama, katulad ni Marcoleta, katulad ni Joel Villanueva, etc. So, ito yung second possible trigger dahil itong mga taong ito, may mga grupo ito, may mga religious group ito. At usually, in the past, katulad last year, ito yung nagmo-mobilize. At ngayon, ito yung inaasahan nila na magmo-mobilize for them para hindi sila makulong o hindi sila makasuhan. No? Kaya yun yung ikalawang possible trigger. Pero unpopular din, plunder No? Mahirap gamitin na trigger yan to mobilize people. No? Kaya ikatlo, yung baka mas compelling, yung impeachment. No? Doon nila ilalagay yung lahat ng itlog nila. In terms
Eggs
of,
in the basket.
Yes.
Pero what is the main goal of this, protest, this opposition? Is this to topple the Marcos administration and let VP Sara sit in?
Well, several yan. No? Yung una is to rally their base, to consolidate their base. Lalo na yung mga leaders ay natetreten na either makulong or nagtatago na.
Right.
Katulad ni Senator Bato. At yung iba, nakakulong na. At yung iba ay malapit na makulong. So, to rally their base, to support yung kanilang mga leaders. Ikalawa, merong mga forces dyan na ang gusto talaga, last year pa, gustong pabagsakin yung gobyerno para magtayo ng revolutionary government. No? Anong ibig sabihin ng revolutionary government? Ito ay isang grupo ng mga military at saka ng mga civilian na magpapatakbo ng gobyerno. So, outright power grab. Merong mga forces diyan na ang mas gusto nila, mag-resign yung presidente at pumalit yung vice president. Kaya makikita mo yan sa mga calls last year, last September, at last November. So may iba't ibang mga grupo na iba't iba yung calls. No? Yung iba ay mag-resign ang presidente. Yung iba ay talagang outright na agawin ng gobyerno. Ang tingin ko, sa ngayon, wala silang wherewithal para gawin yan. No? So ang pwede nilang gawin ay disruption. Paano a failed uprising, a failed mutiny can be as damaging as a successful one. Lalo na ngayon, medyo may problema yung ating ekonomiya dahil sa internal contradictions at saka yung external Iran war. No? Yung ating growth rate, yung ating inflation, etc. So, baka yun pa yung mas compelling na trigger. Kesa dito sa Senate power dynamics at itong mga makukulong. No? Hindi to compelling triggers.
Pero sinasabi ni VP Sara, she said that the leadership daw, yung nangyayari dito, it shows you that the leadership is weak. And we are talking about the President Bongbong Marcos. So, do you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Why?
Talaga namang maraming weaknesses yung gobyerno. Halimbawa, wala pang mga big fish na nakukulong dito sa nilunsad na mahiya naman kayo anti-corruption campaign, etc. etc. Pero part kasi ng weakness ay dahil din kila Sara, no? Yung kanilang offensive laban sa gobyerno. At bahagi rin sila dito sa usapin ng corruption dahil yung mga flood control projects in the thousands, nagsimula yan nung panahon ng kanyang tatay. No? May almost 14,000 flood control projects. Doon nagsimula yan. Tapos meron kang mga corruption issues katulad ng Parmali. Buti na lang ay sinisimulan uli ngayon na investigahan at kasuhan yung mga perpetrators. So, in a way, yes, may mga weaknesses yung gobyerno, pero bahagi ng weaknesses ay galing din sa mga Duterte. Dahil magkasama sila, di ba? Unit team.
May share din sila. May ambag, kumbaga.
Oo. At ngayon, yung focus ng banat nila ay nasa gobyerno. Kaya nawiwikan din yung gobyerno.
Pero ikaw, Sec Ronald, you've been through a lot of administrations. Di ba? Hindi na kita i-age reveal. Pero what can you say about this times right now? Is it really a unique time as compared to before?
Medyo unprecedented. Alam natin, may corruption sa gobyerno. Pero ito ay unprecedented.
Right.
Itong corruption na ito. Itong massive corruption na ito in the hundreds of billions, sabi nila. Kaya kung hindi mo yan mareresolve, no, parang kanyan magfe-fester yan like a rat in our society, in our government. Unprecedented yan. Unprecedented din itong impunity. Especially nung ginawa ng previous government. Thousands killed extrajudicially. Kaya nga tayo yung first Asians na makasuhan sa International Criminal Court. No? So yun yung unprecedented din. No? Ikatlo, itong ating political at saka economic crisis is unprecedented. Imagine mo, 80% ng ating mga politicians belong to dynasties.
Right.
Kaya lumalakas ngayon yung anti-dynasty struggle. No? At kasabay niyan, dahil yung mga dynasties ang kumokontrol ng ating economy, yung mga cartels, etc., lalo nakakatulong yan dito sa ating economic crisis. No? Tapos panghuli, unprecedented din itong invasion ng isang superpower sa ating territory. At nakikialam sa ating domestic politics. No, may sinusuportahan sila para maging gobyerno na friendly sa kanila. Habang ini-invade nila yung ating territory. So imagine mo yung mga unprecedented na yan. Kaya kailangan mo ng unprecedented leadership. Or unprecedented response. Hindi to,
Yun nga
hindi to yung normal times.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you nga So how do you see si President Bongbong Marcos in all of this? Diba? Special Congress, special session, wala pa rin. Diba? So talking about what's happening right now, parang hindi din masyado. So how is he faring?
Well, not too good. No? Lalo na kung titingnan mo yung latest survey ng Pulse Asia, bumababa siya. Hindi pa naman siya kasing baba ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, pero going there, kung wala siyang gagawin. No? Sabi ko nga, unprecedented times, kailangan ng unprecedented response. Yun yung kulang pa. Lalo na magsosona siya sa July.
Mag-iisang taon na yung mahiya naman kayo.
Mahiya naman kayo. Anong pwede mong ipakita? No?
What could be an unprecedented response?
Well, magpakulong siya ng mga big fish. No? Yun yung isa. No? Tapos, mag-propose siya ng mga reforms. Paano yung mga sinabi ng priority bills? Wala nangyari. Halimbawa, yung anti-dynasty. Parang hindi siya anti-dynasty. No? Tapos yung independent commission para investigahan ng corruption.
Wala,
parang,
it fizzled out.
Hindi mo alam nasaan na. Tapos yung party list reform bill, hindi mo alam kung nasaan na. At least yung transparency bill ay naaprubahan na in third reading. Pero wala pa rin yun.
FOI.
So maraming mga priority bill siya na hindi mo na alam nasaan. Kailangan man lang by SONA time, kalahati niyan maaprubahan na. No? Kaya
would it help him if this as soon as possible masampahan ng kaso si former Speaker Martin Romualdez? Because we've seen a lot of, talking. I mean, si Ombudsman sabi nila they're preparing the case, but until now, wala.
Yes.
And of course, siya din, kung magsalita siya about it, would it also help him?
Yeah, yes and no again, no? Dahil ang tingin kay Speaker Martin ay kamag-anak, one of the most powerful tao sa gobyerno, Speaker. Ang problema nila is the evidence, yung smoking gun. Dahil wala naman dito si Saldico, tapos si Gutesa ay hanggang ngayon missing pa. So, ano yung gagamitin nilang basis para kasuhan? Parang ibig sabihin yung case build-up nila, parang bumabangga sa firewall. No? Kaya ang sinasabi ng kampo ni Speaker Martin, where's the evidence? No? Unlike yung iba na merong klarong smoking gun. No? Halimbawa, sabi ni Boyeng Remulla dito kay Marcoleta, yung evidence mismo galing sa kanya. Inamin niya. Tapos itong kay Joel Villanueva ay merong mga testigo from DPWH. Saan dinala yung pera, saan kinuha. Ganun din kay Jinggoy. No? So, yun yung kulang. No? Kaya siguro hindi makasuhan pa si Speaker Martin dahil kulang yung smoking gun.
So, para naghahanap pa sila ngayon?
Yes. Dahil nga, yung mga pwedeng smoking gun, wala naman dito Si Saldico, si Gutesa, itong 18 Marines. Pero medyo weak yung testimony nila di ba? Kaya inaayos pa nila at ginagamit nila na trigger laban sa gobyerno. No? Kaya medyo nakulayan ng politika yung kanilang testimony.
So, as you said, as you mentioned kanina, SONA, malapit na siya. And ano yung aabangan natin ngayon? Tulad ng sinabi mo, there are certain bills na hindi naman talaga pa napupush, na dapat pinush ng presidente. But it's going to be SONA next month. What will he report to us?
Well, ngayon kasi, meron na ka ng bagong Senate leadership. So pwede ka na magkaroon ng BICAM para maaprubahan itong mga bills na ito. Yun yung kulang yung BICAM. No? So at least kalahati man lang ay maaprubahan immediately dito sa BICAM para meron kang i-report sa SONA. Pero yung elephant in the room, itong economic crisis natin, na both internal at external ang dahilan. So, siyempre, yung fiscal space ng gobyerno manipis. So, yung ayuda, hindi ko alam kung hanggang saan maibibigay sa mga vulnerable sectors. So, dapat by SONA, na-mitigate mo yung effects nitong crisis na ito. Dahil kung yung mga tao ay gutom or sobrang taas ng inflation, almost 8% na ngayon, yung value ng peso pababa. Kung hindi mo yan maayos o at least ma-mitigate going into the SONA, that is a possible trigger more than itong Senate crisis, more than itong mga plunder cases ng mga senador. Yun yung mas compelling. Kaya dun siya susukatin Bills, mahiya ka naman campaign, tapos yung mitigation ng economic crisis natin.
And before we go to the impeachment trial, I also want to ask you about the West Philippine Sea. With all of the things that are happening here in our country politically, diba, I think napapabayaan din, aside from economy, is yung security natin internationally. No? And we've seen some floating device in Bajo de Masinloc, and we all know that kung magkaroon ng some structure doon, it could be Strait of Hormuz situation na pwedeng harangin ng China sa atin no, in terms of yung mga trade, etc. So what happens now?
Well, baka hindi alam ng ating mamamayan ngayong Independence Day. Kailangan matutunan natin na yung China naglagay ng 13 nautical mile buffer zone dito sa Bajo de Masinloc, dito sa Scarborough, na hindi tayo pwedeng pumasok sa ating sariling territory. At nakita natin sa ating air assets na nagsisimula na silang maglagay ng mga floating buoy, possibly para magtayo ng permanent structures, katulad ng ginawa nila sa ibang parts ng West Philippine Sea. Yung mga bato, naging syudad. No? At naging
magugulat na lang tayo.
At naging military base. So, yung paglagay nila ng buffer zone ay delikado. No? Dahil pwedeng stimulus yan para talaga magbuo ng isang base dito sa Bajo de Masinloc. Kaya dapat ay mag-offensive tayo laban dyan. Hindi naman para makipaggera. No? Tapos, itong this year, isa-celebrate natin sa panahon ng SONA, yung 10th anniversary ng ating historic victory laban sa China, sa UNCLOS, na sinasabi, suportado tayo ng international law sa ating territory na ini-invade ng China. No, kaya yung SONA magkakaroon ng ganong klaseng complexion. Dito natin pinagdiriwang yung ating 10th anniversary ng UNCLOS na sa buong mundo, ngayon lang nangyari ito.
Well, Sec Ronald, before I let you go, mabilisan na lang to. Yung tungkol sa impeachment trial. Tingin mo ba, ngayon kasi merong 12 or magiging 13 na Senado, there will be conviction pagdating dun sa, based dun sa articles of impeachment na inilahad ng prosecution panel?
May dalawang labanan dyan. Yung una, yung simple majority, para yung mga ebidensya ay makalabas. No, paano sasabihin ng iba dyan, hindi kami sang-ayon na lumabas yung AMLAC report, yung bank secrecy law, hindi kami sang-ayon na yan ay tanggalin para mabuksan yung mga bangko ni Vice President Sara. So yung unang labanan will be a simple majority para yung lahat ng ebidensya ay mabuksan. Yung ikalawang major na labanan, yung 2/3 vote para sa conviction. So doon umiikot itong impeachment na ito. Kaya yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina, pwedeng lahat pa dito pupunta. At magsisimula yan sa July 6. A special session makakatulong para ma-resolve yung sino ba talaga ang Senate President. Pero ang indication mo dyan, pag magtatawag ng special session, meron ng 13.
Yun. Aabangan natin yun. Ano? Pwede mo ba sabihin kung sino ika-13?
Well, titingnan mo, may 4 na hindi dumadalo.
Oo.
Doon sa mga session.
Mamili na lang kami doon.
Oo, meron
Okay.
2 bilyar, may 1 bongo, tsaka may 1 Joel Villanueva. So take your pick.
Okay. Alright, maraming salamat sa iyo, Sir Ronald Llamas. Thank you for joining me again.
Salamat din. Happy Independence Day.
Okay. More matters to discuss after this quick break. Keep it here on One News.
Good morning. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News.
Former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson was arrested in Quezon City over a cyber libel charge. Police say Singson was arrested past 1 p.m. on Thursday at his residence in Barangay Ugong Norte. The warrant was issued by a Vigan City Court for alleged violation of the Cybercrime Prevention Act. The 84-year-old businessman was brought to Police Station 12 for booking and documentation. He later posted bail of 60,000 pesos and was released on the same day. Authorities have yet to disclose the complainant or the online statements behind the cyber libel case.
The FBI says global threats, including scams, extremism, and drug trafficking, are growing as it works with Asian partners, including the Philippines, to fight them. Mobile journalist Yeda Pascual reports.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, warns that major global threats are continuing to grow across the United States and Southeast Asia. During a virtual press briefing, FBI Co-Deputy Director Andrew Bailey identified 3 major threats: industrial-scale scam compounds, online violent extremism, and illegal drug trafficking. According to Bailey, these criminal groups target people regardless of nationality, steal billions of dollars, and destroy lives through online scams, violence, and illegal drugs.
These criminals don't care what flag their victims live under. They target Americans and Southeast Asians alike. They profit from misery regardless of national identity. And we're at an inflection point. Humanity is pleading for help, and the FBI, along with our invaluable foreign partners, are leading the way.
The FBI says many of these scam operations are run by organized criminal groups across Southeast Asia. These networks use technology, cryptocurrency, and human trafficking to target more victims.
The FBI certainly understands many line-level workers and scam compounds are human trafficking victims who are forced to defraud others. We seek justice on behalf of those victims as well as the victims being defrauded as part of the scam center.
The FBI says it is working with law enforcement agencies across the region, including the Philippines, to crack down on these operations.
We're working with law enforcement, prosecutors, and government partners throughout Asia to build a unified front against these networks. And our league at Manila coordinates closely with the Philippine Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, the Bureau of Immigration, the National Bureau of Investigations, the Philippine National Police, and the Philippine Department of Justice to attack scam centers from that perspective as well.
The FBI also raised concern over the growing threat of online violent extremism among young people. Bailey said extremist groups use online platforms to target vulnerable children and push them toward violence. In the Philippines, the FBI shared intelligence with local authorities through the FBI-led Anti-Terrorism Fusion Group.
That critical intelligence identified juveniles exhibiting indicators of violent extremist behavior. Through the FBI's leadership and this critical partnership, the Anti-Terrorism Fusion Group conducted 14 operations and successfully saved 21 minors who were rapidly mobilizing toward violence. Those aren't statistics, those are lives saved and families protected, and potential victims who will never know how close they came to tragedy. And that is exactly what success looks like. Threats identified early, intelligence shared rapidly, and violence prevented before it occurs.
The FBI also continues its crackdown on fentanyl trafficking, which it called one of the deadliest drug threats today. The agency says it is working with partners across Asia to stop illegal chemicals used to produce the drug. Bailey added that the FBI is now targeting the larger criminal networks behind these operations.
Whether we're talking about scam compounds, nihilistic violent extremism, or fentanyl trafficking, the FBI's mission is clear. We will protect the American people, we will defend our homeland, and we will take the fight directly to those who threaten us. The threats are global, the criminals are ruthless, but our partnerships throughout Southeast Asia are ironclad. And together, we will make America and the world safer.
This is mobile journalist Yeda Pascual. We are One News.
A historic first ever docu-anthology, Patriots, is set to air soon, spotlighting the courage and sacrifices of Filipino uniformed personnel. Hosted by Matteo Guidicelli, the series pays tribute to the dedication of the country's uniformed heroes through powerful real-life stories. It features weekly episodes showcasing different soldiers and their experiences in service. Guidicelli says the program aims to inspire viewers with lessons on integrity, resilience, and selfless service while honoring the sacrifices of soldiers for the nation. Let's take a look at part of my interview with Guidicelli.
This is a docu-series, so it's different soldiers every single week for a whole season and hopefully the second season, hopefully. But maganda to dahil pinag-usapan talaga natin ang bawat sundalo, ang buhay nila bago sila naging sundalo at ngayon na naging sundalo sila. Lahat ng mga challenges nila, bakit nila ginagawa ang ginagawa nila. So you get a lot of stories of grit, of wisdom, of patriotism. And may mga kwento dito na sobrang sensitive i-handle dahil ito yung kwento ng buhay talaga. Buhay that was lost in battle or lost in service. So it's an honor and privilege to actually carry these stories and tell these stories to our kababayans. And I need to say thank you to the whole Signal One News team because they're the ones that's driving this vehicle. They're the ones. They're great editors, great storytellers, and I'm very thankful that they chose me to actually tell these stories. So maraming salamat. Iba yung gravity ng lahat ng kwento. But the one that affected me the most is General Alberto's story. General Alberto 7 years ago was the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, CGPA. He was the reason why I joined the Army. He allowed me. And after I did the Ranger course, sabi niya sa akin, Mateo, na-inspire yung anak ko. Sabi niya, kaya mo, kaya ko rin. So ginawa niya yung OCS. OCS is a 1-year course that after you graduate, magiging officer ka na sa AFP, sa Army. So ginawa niya yan. General Alberto gave me a call. Sabi, Matt, can you come and pin my son, Marky Alberto? So I came, I pinned him. I remember that moment super clear. So I did that, and sabi niya, Matt, ginawa mo yung Ranger, kaya din niya. So he did the Ranger course. He graduated. And while he graduated in his test mission, I remember they stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device, and he got injured in his left arm. I remember that. I thought that was it for him, meaning admin work na lang siya. Months after that, I received another call. It was his funeral. 26 years old, young captain, Rangers, tough, strong. He sacrificed his life for his country. And I thought he wasn't going to be in the battlefield again. I was there for his funeral, and I saw the pain in Sir's eyes, and in the mother's eyes, and in the siblings' eyes. Like it was painful. It was painful. And going back to that, in Libingan ng Bayani, we went there and we featured his story. Just giving that salute to Captain Marky was extremely painful and really emotional. You could feel the rawness of emotions from the parents. Every single day from that day, they're there every single day to just remember Marky. And we have stories like this, very sensitive stories that, and anybody can say it, anybody can tell it, but we need to be very sensitive in saying in telling it, because I'm a phone call away from General Alberto, and I really want to tell it as accurately and as sensitive as possible and give it justice, kumbaga, and make people remember the sacrifices of Captain Marky Alberto, a 26-year-old officer of the Philippine Army.
Your passion is very evident, and it shows in your work. Even in those short clips, we could see and we could feel the emotions that you wanted to convey and the stories that you want to tell. How do you want the audience to see this project of yours?
I think General Browner said it kanina, war stories, sad stories, positive stories. I think at the end of the day, inspiration, inspired to be Filipino, inspired to one day become a soldier, or inspired that they are a soldier, kumbaga. And to learn grit, and most important, to learn integrity. I think very important. It's very obvious that our country is going through ups and downs. And I think integrity is very important. And I think shows like this, opportunities like this to show the selfless service of a soldier, we remind people that, hey, there's still hope somewhere there, hard to find, but let's find it together. And I think we have to lead by example and try our best for the next generation. It's easy to give up. But I think with stories like this, we can continue crawling forward. And yeah, that's the inspiration. That's the goal, to inspire and to make them feel and know that there will be a better tomorrow. There will be. But we have to do it all together. When, how, where, I don't know. That's the question we all have to answer. But we have to be proactive and try.
Stay tuned. Morning Matters returns after a quick break.
morning and welcome back. I'm Pauline Verzosa and you're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Office of Civil Defense said the death toll from the magnitude 7.8 earthquake off Maasim, Sarangani has risen to 55. It also reported 1,120 injuries and 31 persons remaining missing. Authorities say most casualties were recorded in regions 11 and 12. More than 75,000 families have been affected across Mindanao and the Bangsamoro region. Rescue, relief, and damage assessment operations continue.
Let's get more updates from Office of Civil Defense Deputy Administrator Assistant Secretary Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro IV. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to all our viewers and listeners.
Sir, we just want to double check. We just reported that the count was at 55, but is this the latest validated number? Hopefully it hasn't increased. What is the latest validated number of casualties, missing individuals, and injuries across the affected regions?
ASEC?
Sir?
Hi, sir. Can you hear us okay? ASEC? All right. So it seems we lost our connection temporarily with ASEC from the OCD, but we will try to get him once again in the program. So as we reported earlier, the death toll is now at 55. Hopefully, like you said, Cheska, it hasn't increased, but it's been 4 days already, 5 days since the earthquake that hit General Santos City and other provinces. So, okay, I believe, okay, we're now going to check first the situation on the ground with our mobile journalist, Daniel Dayaw, who is reporting live. Daniel, kamusta na ang sitwasyon dyan?
Yes, good morning, Angela, Cheska, and Pauline. Ilang araw nga matapos yumanig ang 7.5 magnitude na lindol dito, malaking hamon ngayon sa mga residente dito sa General Santos City kung paano sila babangon. At kanina lang or kaninang umaga lang or ngayong umaga ay pumunta tayo sa Barangay Lagaw to check in sa hospital and the evacuation center. So on both ends, bakas pa rin talaga yung takot sa mga residente. So sa ospital na pinuntahan natin, sa Surgeon County Hospital, nananatili pa rin sa labas yung mga pasyente. So meron total na 109 patients doon, pero 25 lang yung nasa loob. So meaning yung 84 patients na nakita natin ay nandun, and I actually talked to them, and ang sabi nila sa akin is precautionary measures daw ito dahil natatakot pa rin sila sa aftershock. So I actually asked din also kung meron bang na-admit dito na earthquake related, pero ang sabi naman sa akin minor injuries lang, naitala na merong 8, pero yun nga minor injuries, so nakauwi rin daw agad ng bahay. So for now, ang challenges talaga doon is yung init kasi nga nandun sila sa labas, so uncomfortable talaga yung mga ibang patients doon, and at the same time yung water supply kasi ang pinaka natamaan sa hospital is yung mga pipes. So for now, nag-iigib-igib sila, though may mga donations din naman from LGU and the Water District. Pero apart from that, isang challenge pa nga doon is yung CR nila kasi dalawa lang yung CR and then 84 patients yung nasa labas. So for now kasi ang functional pa lang sa buildings ay dalawa, yung ward and then yung underground kasi yung the pangalawang stations doon ay we were told nga na yung pangalawang stations ay red tag. So meaning ng red tag, bawal munang gamitin. So isa pa yun sa mga challenges ng hospital. Waiting pa rin daw sa structural assessment and kung mabubuksan to this following weeks. Pero going here sa Barangay Lagaw Carcon Evacuation Center, meron naman dito 120 individuals and 84 families. So kahapon kasi ang napuntahan nating evacuation center is yung Buayan. So doon ang sitwasyon is pabalik-balik yung mga residente dahil feeling nila kapag okay na, ibabalik dun sa bahay. Pero pagbalik doon ay magkakaroon ng aftershock and then babalik ulit sa evacuation center. Pero dito, Angela, Cheska, and Pauline, ang sitwasyon ay hindi na muna sila bumabalik ng bahay. That is because yung pinaka-sitwasyon nila or yung pinaka-bahay nila is talagang devastated or hindi na magagamit. So for now, waiting sila for ayuda ng financial assistance kasi yun daw yung pinaka kailangan nila para magawa nga yung bahay. And at the same time, isa pang concern dito, just like yung hospital, is yung water supply and potable water. So kanina may nakausap tayo si Nanay Rizelu na emotional kanina dahil wala na nga daw siyang trabaho dahil gumuho yung establishmento na pinagtatrabahuhan niya and then nawalan pa ng bahay. So napakahirap daw sa kanilang tanggapin at hanggang ngayon ay hindi nila alam kung paano sila babangon. Cheska, Angela, Pauline.
Daniel, yung mga aftershocks, I think nasa over 3,000 na yung na-record. Pero is there a timeline kung kung gaano pa katagal may posibleng aftershocks na dumating?
As of now, wala naman tayong aftershocks na nararamdaman. Pero tama ka dyan, meron ng 3,000 na recorded aftershock. Pero ngayon kasi, thankfully, hindi na ito nakakadagdag sa trauma ng mga residente na bumabalik-balik nga sa evacuation center tsaka sa bahay nila. Pero continuous pa rin naman ang pagyanig ng lupa every 3 hours or so. So for now, yun lang muna ang meron.
Daniel, mayroong bang mga lugar na hindi pa rin ma-access ng mga responders at ng mga autoridad?
Actually, dito, Pauline, is General Santos City is accessible naman lahat. Although sa Barangay Hikban, talagang makikita doon yung damages nga ng or pinsala doon sa lindol. So, ang pinaka-challenge naman dito is yung mga bahay nila. Hindi kasi nakikita yung damage dahil nasa loob. So, yung mga residente doon sila natutulog sa labas ng bahay nila. So, yun yung pinaka-concern nila dahil natatakot daw silang pumunta naman ng evacuation center at baka manakawan. So, to answer your question, accessible naman lahat dito. Yun nga lang, wala pang ayuda from LGU.
May dahilan ba, Daniel, kung bakit hindi pa nakakarating yung ayuda?
Actually, Pauline, kahapon nga, to give background lang, pumunta dito yung ilang senators from majority bloc and personally nagbigay sila ng 1 million pesos. Personally daw ito sa kanilang sahod from the Senate. Pero ayun nga, nakita natin na ibinigay ito kay Mayor Lorelai Pacquiao. Pero as of now, tinanong natin ang mga officials din dito sa LGU and as of now, nasa meeting sila as in ngayong umaga to assess kung paano madidistribute nga yung ayuda. Kasi for now, ang natatanggap lang ng mga residente dito is yung pagkain pero short pa rin daw sa tubig and of course yung financial assistance nga, Pauline.
Daniel, of course, aside from the necessities, food, shelter, water, meron ka bang mga nakausap na may mga hiling or yung mga hindi na naiisip ng mga taong tumutulong kung anong pwedeng mabigay?
Yes, for now kasi ang mga nakausap natin talagang kailangan daw nila ay pagkain at tubig because it's survival. Dahil most of them talaga hindi naman nakapag-imbak or nakapag-stock ng pagkain and at the same time affected nga yung bahay. So nahihirapan din silang i-access yung bahay nila. So yun yung pinaka-hina-highlight nila and then yung financial assistance. Pero ayun nga, talking to them, yun lang naman, basic lang naman daw yung kanilang hinihiling. Yun nga, yung magkaroon ng pagkain, tubig, kahit naman daw ialis muna ang financial assistance basta magkaroon lang sila for survival nga, Pauline.
And Daniel, kamusta naman yung mga estudyante dyan sa Gensan? We know classes have been suspended since Monday. Kailan sila babalik sa klase? Magkakaroon ba ng alternative learning muna, pansamantala?
Yes, as of now, yun nga, naikot natin dito sa General Santos City yung iba't ibang eskwelahan, katulad na lang ng Notre Dame. At nakita natin doon na matindi talaga yung pinsala. So assessing from what we've seen, hindi talaga siya maa-access as of now. And then we're trying also to get a hold doon sa LGU nga if magkakaroon ng alternative learning classes. Pero as of now, naka-put on hold muna yan dahil ang pinaka-priority daw is yung pagbibigay ng ayuda sa mga residente dito sa General Santos City.
Daniel, yung mga naikot mo at yung mga nakita mong mga tao, how would you describe yung mga emotions na nakikita mo from the kids, from the adults? Ano ang mga na-witness mo?
Alam mo, Angela, isa yon sa pinaka-challenge din dito kasi makikita mo talaga yung bakas ng takot and yung bakas ng anxiety na magkakaroon pa ng aftershock and actually talking to them and making them know na meron ngang mga tumutulong naman sa kanila na nag-aayuda like DSWD IX program. Nakita ko rin talaga yung hinanaing nila na magkaroon nga ng ayuda right here, right now. Because kahapon nandun tayo sa DSWD IX program and may mga nakapila doon. And ang sabi nila, wala naman daw timeline kung kailan na ipapamigay yung mga family food pack. Pero they're hoping. So yung mga tao dito, kahit na sabihin na nagkaroon sila ng, or nabiktima sila or naano sila ng lindol, ay they're hoping na may matutulong sa kanila. Pero yun nga, one of the frustrating factors dito is hindi pa nga rin nakakaabot sa kanila most of the time yung ayuda na family food pack and the water supply kasi yun talaga yung kailangan nila as of now.
Daniel, nangako rin si President Bongbong Marcos na mamamahagi siya ng 50,000 pesos sa bawat pamilya na may nawala ng mahal sa buhay, pumanaw dahil sa 7.8 magnitude na earthquake. Ito ba ay natanggap na ng mga pamilya?
Yes, Pauline, as of now, yun nga, tama yung information mo doon na magbibigay nga si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ng 50,000. Pero we're still getting a hold doon sa victims ng families nga na namatayan or nabagsakan ng mga gusali. Pero as of now, wala pa tayong information dyan. Pero yan yung tututukan natin, Pauline.
Daniel, in terms of the roads and the airport, may updates na ba tayo? May na-clear na ba? Meron na bang nabigyan ng go signal na pwede nang dumaan, pwede nang magamit?
Yes, Pauline, dito kasi sa General Santos City is wala namang okay naman yung trapiko. Actually, dumami na nga yung sasakyan dito and almost back to normal na kung titingnan mo yung road signs dito or yung traffic. Pero when it comes to General Santos Airport, nakaput on hold pa din and canceled yung flights nila dito.
Okay, so Daniel, doon sa pakikipag-usap mo sa mga residente ng Gensan, paano nila balak mag-cope dito after the 7.8 magnitude earthquake, considering mabagal yung ayuda, hindi nila alam paano sila makakabangon muli. Ano yung ang sinasabi nilang magiging plano nila as of now?
Alam mo, Pauline, to answer your question, I was asking them that the whole time and ang sabi nila, walang plano, hindi alam kung paano magsisimula, ang pinanghuhugutan na lang daw nila ng lakas dito is yung family nila and yung pagbabayanihan dahil dito nga sa mga evacuation centers, pati doon sa mga bahay na gumuho tapos may mga nakatira sa labas ng tent or nag-evacuate muna sa labas ng kanilang bahay. Ayan, nagtutulong-tulong sila. Like for example, nagbibigay sila ng, kung for example, meron doon na nagpamahagi ng vegetables. So yun yung ginagawang ulam ng whole street na yon. And dito naman, meron din naman dumadating na mga ayuda from private companies and vloggers daw. So yun lang yung pinaka-inasahan nila. Pero going back to your question kung paano sila makakabangon, they cannot answer that. And you can literally see kung gaano sila ka-frustrated kasi yung pinaka-basic necessities na pagkain, na tubig, and yung bahay nila, yun daw yung nawala. So, paano to sila magsisimula? So, yun ang pinaka-hina-highlight nila. Nanghihingi talaga sila ng tulong from the government, local government unit, and the national government as well, Pauline.
Kasi sabi mo nga rin kahapon, Daniel, na mahalaga rin yung financial assistance para sa mga biktima, yung 5,000 pesos. Pero yung tanong din doon, magagamit ba nila yan? May mabibili ba sila with that money? Bukas na ba yung mga negosyo, yung mga palengke?
Yes, Pauline, alam mo, when it comes to palengke nga, bukas naman yung palengke nila dito, pero many of the business sectors here ay nakasarado pa din dahil nga manipis pa rin yung supply ng kuryente. And yun nga, when it comes to the financial aid, sabi ko, 5,000 is not enough even for a week. And then sabi nila, they're much grateful na makatanggap kahit 5,000 dahil kailangan nga daw nila. Pero yun nga, isa pa rin sa concern nila talaga is yung bahay. Kung paano magagawa yung bahay nila dahil most na mga bahay na nabisita namin talaga ay hindi na kailangan na bagbagin dahil yung pinakasahig is nag-crack na and nagkaroon ng mga sinkhole. So, yet to be determined daw yan, Pauline.
Okay, thank you so much, Mobile Journal Daniel Dayaw. All right, we have Office of Civil Defense Deputy Administrator Assistant Secretary Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro IV on the line again. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers.
Sir, a while ago, na-report po na the count was at 55, but do you have, hopefully, no additional? What are the latest validated numbers of casualties, missing individuals, and injuries across the affected regions?
As of this morning, due to validation being conducted by the ILG and our latest count is that we have 46 dead casualties and 38 missing, no? Dahil ito sa ongoing validation, meron pong nabawas na casualty dead na isa, but nag-increase po yung ating missing from 31 to 38 as of this morning.
Sir, tama po ba yung narinig ko? Nabawasan po yung casualties? Because we reported earlier, the information we got is that the latest count is at 55. So sabi niyo po, 46 lamang.
Yes, ang naming report as of kagabi was 47. That's our report as reported last night. But this morning po, dahil po sa ongoing validation sa field, ay naging 46, no? Nabawas yung isang reported dead from Balut Island na nawala yun. But nag-increase po yung missing individuals from 31 to 38. And that is attributed to the additional 4 from our 7, no? From Jose Abad Santos.
Sir, are we expecting these numbers to change because are there still any isolated communities that cannot be reached by road, or ano yung mga alternate transport methods na ginagamit to reach these communities?
Because of our limited mobility on the ground, no, we are using yung ating helicopters from the Philippine Air Force and Coast Guard to bring in logistics and even do assessment, no? Coupled with the use of our sea vessels from the Navy and the Coast Guard, lalo na dito sa area ng Glan, no? Which is hard to as of now. So ito namang ating figures, we expect na meron pa itong changes because ongoing nga ang validation ng ating mga tao sa field. But we hope na it will stay this way, no? Kasi kung yung missing na lang naman ang makakapagdagdag doon sa casualty but we're still hoping na buhay itong mga reported missing, no? But ito na lang ang makakadagdag doon sa mga dead casualty natin.
So sir, tell us what is the actual situation on the ground, ano, and what are the biggest challenges that you've encountered so far? You mentioned 38 pa po ang missing as of today. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman po ang rescue and retrieval operations.
Yes, tuloy-tuloy pa rin. And our focus is really sa area ng Glan and Jose Abad Santos area. Kasi ito po yung dalawang area aside from General Santos na meron pong maraming reported casualty. And again, our limitation now is yung movement, ground movement, because of the road networks na papunta dyan sa Glan and Jose Abad Santos na marami pong mga landslide na kiniklear as we speak ng DPWH. But again, hindi naman po sila totally isolated. Meron lang mga road network na one way at medyo hirap. It's only open to light vehicles. Alam naman natin pag when we bring in goods, kailangan po we use trucks, mga 6x6 and wing vans to bring relief items. But again, we have helicopters that are being utilized doon, no, to bring in immediately goods and resources, and even using these choppers for medical evacuation.
Sir, in terms of the evacuation centers, no, ano yung mga pinakakailangan na marating doon sa mga tao sa evacuation centers, and even more so to the people who cannot be reached by vehicles?
Oo, ito nga, puspusan tayong nagpapadala immediately ng water and food items because we have 31 evacuation centers na ino-operate, no? Housing some 2,409 families. But again, marami pong naka-stay na pamilya na wala po sa evacuation center. So ito po yung binibigyan natin ng pansin ngayon because ang mga road networks na papunta mismo sa mga barangay kung saan sila ay medyo hirap po because of so many landslides na nangyari. Specifically dito sa Jose Abad Santos. But again, we have mobilized yung ating army, yung ating BFP to bring in resources. Ang ating DSWD ay magdadagdag po ng food items plus water. No? Meron tayong mga water filtration units, mga response teams even from MMDA na tumutulong po. Ang challenge na lang talaga is how to bring them as quickly and as fast as possible doon sa mga areas na nangangailangan tulad ng Abad Santos.
Well, Asek, 4 days since this earthquake happened, many residents are still living outdoors, spending the night in open spaces inside tents. And actually, ang narinig po namin, ang hinihingi rin ng local government ngayon is aside from food, from water, ay yung mga tents talaga kasi mukhang kulang para sa mga pamilya. Is this something that the national government can provide immediately?
Yes. We are doing everything to bring itong mga tents ito. As far as Manila, may research. It's on their way na to Mindanao para po madagdagan itong mga immediate housing requirements, temporary shelter requirements na kailangan po. Kasi as we speak po, meron pa pong 3,605 recorded aftershock. No? Every day meron pa pong mga aftershock na nararanasan doon. Kaya yung ibang pamilya natin ay hindi pa po bumabalik sa mga tahanan nila, sa loob ng tahanan nila. Kaya they need shelter assistance po. Mga tarpaulins, tents, and doon sa mga open spaces. So we are bringing resources naman po as we speak. No? Ang ating mga C-130 and C-295 aircrafts ay round the clock po, bringing relief goods and materials sa ground zero po para ma-distribute kaagad.
Thank you for your time. Office of Civil Defense Deputy Administrator Assistant Secretary Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro IV. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Good morning mga kapatid. You are still watching Morning Matters.
Right, now that's it for today's news. But before we go, of course, we had a lot of takeaways this week. It's been a very busy week, but today, hopefully, we can just celebrate Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. Okay?
Ayan. We made it through our
Yes,
second week. Congratulations to us.
Actually.
Hopefully, you join us every week in the weeks to come.
And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. I'm Cheska Liton-Calao.
Let's make the day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Kapatid, we are One News.
All sides,
all the time.